Violence in the city of Detroit. Right now, there are multiple shooting investigations underway.
At a home near Capitol Avenue and Metatol Street on the city's west side. Police say two brothers, both in their 30s, got into an argument. That's when one of them pulled out a handgun and shot the other. The victim was transported to a local hospital in critical condition.
Born May 29th, 1987, at Detroit Memorial Hospital, Rayshawn Foster A.K.A Ray-Ray would be Alex Foster's first child. She would later go on to have 5 other children, making Ray-Ray the oldest of 6. Growing up on Detroit's west side, more specifically, Joy Road between Wyoming and Illinois, which is also referred to as Joy Road Dark Side, Ray-Ray would spend his early years attending Barton Elementary, which is located on Ohio and Joy Road. Growing up in this rough but close-knit neighborhood unsurprisingly came with its fair share of trial and tribulation. So at the age of 14, Ray-Ray found himself in trouble with the law. He started getting arrested for minor things such as fighting and bringing fake guns to school. This may not be true for some people, but growing up in our neighborhood, that was considered normal. Around age 19, Rayshawn will have his first child, a boy named Jabari. He would later go on to have 5 more children, Lanaya, Madison, Nazaria, Josiah, and a 5th child that I was unable to find any information on that lives in Alabama. Rayshawn's father, which is also my uncle, Wilford Carter Jr., a.k.a. Dirt, was also raised in the same area. Uncle Dirt had an infamous reputation in the city of Detroit. Known for being a live wire and unpredictable, his name evoked fear in some and respect in others. As they say, the apple doesn't fall far. I can personally tell you that out of all my cousins, Rayshawn was most spontaneous and unpredictable. Fast forward until around 2019, after serving 18 months in the Texas prison, he came home and linked up with a female he had only been talking to through a group chat for 7 to 8 years, Lamisha Cody, better known throughout the city of Detroit as Tatted. And as you can see, she lives up to her name. Known as outgoing, outspoken, and spontaneous person herself, RayRay and Teddy would both describe their love as a true connection, or love at first sight. Due to their similar personalities and nearly identical rambunctious lifestyles, their relationship could only be seen as crazy love in my eyes. From the outside looking in, it would probably look like a typical toxic relationship that would probably end as soon as the fun wears off. But if you was as close to them as I was, you knew this was far from the case. I can tell you from personal experience that I've seen these two argue for an hour. Then when the song came on, RayRay stopped the car, not pulled over. He stopped the car, both of them jumped out in the middle of Grand River and Greenfield and started dancing. They really started dancing. Now if you're from the D, you know how busy that intersection is. They danced through the entire song. It was beautiful. After a few years, they quit trying to maintain a monogamous relationship that Lamisha would say became toxic and abusive. They would both describe the fights to me, and I could tell you they definitely got out of hand, to say the least. Doing things like crashing each other's cars, biting, and other crazy issues. They finally grew to settle on having an open and honest friendship with full benefits. This turned out to be the best choice they could have ever made. They would later go on to open a landscaping business together that RayRay took a lot of pride in, providing things like tree removal and other general lawn services. Rayshawn will also end up getting involved in the entertainment industry as a cast member in an online series called Love, Lust, and Lifestyle, which you can also tell RayRay took a lot of pride in and enjoyed very much. Now, to be completely clear, Rayshawn was also in an open relationship with his 3rd child's mother named Clarissa. This is the woman he was actually living with on Plymouth and Metatol at the house where the incident took place. As I said earlier in the video, Rayshawn was the oldest of 6 kids. His siblings' names are Kiki, Arkham, a.k.a. Chucky, Monet, Desmond, and Dante. Well, somewhere around 2021, Chucky was released from prison and would live with RayRay and Clarissa off and on. Chucky living with RayRay never lasted more than a couple months because of what we all thought was normal sibling rivalry. Even though they were both in their 30s, they still constantly fought over petty things. We would later come to learn that what we thought was typical back and forth amongst brothers would end up evolving into hatred. And from there, a tragic and unbelievable ending that none of us would ever be prepared for began to take shape. Born April 25th, 1991 in Delray, Michigan, Arkham Coates Jr., a.k.a. Chucky, would spend most of his adolescent years living with his father, Arkham Coates Sr. Chucky would have it extremely hard during these years. It would later come out that he was being what could only be described as tortured at the hands of his father. Arkham Sr. would get arrested, then released after a few years for drug charges. Then around 2014-2015, he would be sentenced to life in prison for multiple charges that I can't speak about on here. He would ultimately be unalived in a stab after serving 7 years. Around the age of 15, Chucky began coming to our neighborhood. Since all it took was one glance to realize that he was Ray-Ray's brother, he was greeted with open arms. Before Chucky turned 16, he would receive a 5-year sentence for stealing cars. Honestly, he was doing this for another cousin of ours that's also deceased, Leon Dickerson, A.K.A Big Swan. I plan to do a video about him at a later date. This was the first of many long stints of incarceration. By the time of this incident happening, Chucky was 32 years old, and from my last count, he spent 15 of them incarcerated for one thing or the other. Mainly car-related and theft-related crimes. Coincidentally, at the time of this situation, he was still on parole also. Around 2020, Chucky would start hanging around his older brother, Rayshawn, more frequently. As I said earlier, he even came to live with him for a while, but it was never a long-term situation. From what RayRay told me, Chucky would not stop physically assaulting his girlfriend, China, who he brought to live with him as well. I never had to ask Chucky if this was true, because I personally had to step in and stop him from putting his hands on his girlfriend at RayRay's house before myself. So I'm pretty much sure it's true. After moving out of his brother's house, and then with China and her family, Chucky would still visit his brother on a daily basis, whether if it was just to chill or to go out and party, which we all knew RayRay loved to do. Every now and again, the brothers would end up fighting over one thing or another, but like clockwork, the brothers would be right back together the following weekend, laughing and partying like nothing ever happened. Fast forward into around late September, early August of 2025, around 3 weeks prior to that final altercation, I was at home when I received a call from one of the guys. He told me RayRay and Chucky had just left. Apparently they got into a fight in the neighborhood that got out of hand. The story that he gave me was RayRay and Chucky started arguing over something that had to do with Taddy. Probably him being extra as usual. Anyway, it led up to him and RayRay throwing hands. Now for some reason, after the fight, RayRay grabbed a firearm from his car and let off shots toward the vehicle that Chucky was sitting in. So naturally, I was pissed. After about an hour of blowing both of their phones up, I finally got a call back from Chucky. Before I could say anything, he interrupted me and uttered 6 words. 6 words that, looking back on them now, I can only wish that I took more serious. I'm gonna kill your cousin. That's all he said. I'm gonna kill your cousin. It definitely caught me off guard. So after a brief pause, I started going off on him for the fight and for making that goofy ass statement. My point was, fighting your own brother in the middle of the street like some complete stranger not only makes you look bad, but also our entire family. After I got off the phone with Chucky, I eventually got in touch with RayRay and flipped out on him even worse than I did Chucky. And like I told him, I feel like regardless of what's going on, we're a family, and family is supposed to stand together in the streets especially. But maybe that's just my opinion. But once again, maybe about a week later, they were back together, smiling and laughing, like nothing ever happened. Like I said, this was normal for them. Around 11:30 a.m., it started out as a normal good day. RayRay was cooking chicken and greens in his crock pot. About an hour or so later, Lamisha A.K.A Taddy called Shantae and told her to come through. It's time to turn up. By the time Shantae arrived, Chucky and China had popped up unannounced, which was normal occurrence for Chucky. He immediately asked Shantae and girl Sean, which is RayRay's cousin on his mom's side, to ride with him somewhere on the east. I believe they was going to pick up some clothes or drop off some clothes or something of the sort. Now, girl Sean isn't your typical female. She's really viewed as one of the guys, if you know what I mean. For some reason, the entire trip, Chucky decided to pick on our bully girl Sean. They rode to the east side, handled what they had to handle, then came back. As they pulled up, Chucky was being his usual irritating self and still picking on Sean. At some point, RayRay stepped in and that de-escalated the situation for a while. So the entire group decided to go over to China's people's house to continue the party. For one reason or another, after only being there for a little while, Chucky was right back to doing the same aggravating, irritating things, which was quite normally aimed at the women. Again, I've been around Chucky long enough to know that he goes a little over the top on more than one occasion. It's usually his girlfriend or random people he views as weak. I'm not sure the underlying reason, but I can definitely say that drugs and alcohol were mitigating factors almost every time. Anyway, the entire night, he was viewed as becoming more and more aggravating and more belligerent. He chose to take it a step further, antagonizing his brother by involving Taddy. He walked over to RayRay and said something that he knew would get a response. He said that he was about to go pull Taddy's hair, who wasn't even paying him any attention at the time. As a matter of fact, Taddy was in a whole different room playing with the children. RayRay responded by telling him he would hit him in his jaw if he did it. Chucky turned around, went toward Taddy, walked over and yanked her by the back of her head. Of course, the fight was on. Everyone that witnessed the fight said you could tell that RayRay wasn't that serious about it, and that during the fight, he was seen laughing and taunting Chucky. On the other hand, Chucky wasn't playing at all. As a matter of fact, he was dead serious. People said you could tell he was giving it his all. At some point during the fight, Chucky knocked RayRay down, and that's when everybody decided to step in and break up the fight. By all accounts, it was said that RayRay let Chucky win. Growing up as close as me and RayRay was, I can really believe that. I could pretty much tell from what I heard that RayRay was more into it to try to prove a point than to actually hurt him. This is when everyone parted ways. RayRay, Chaddick, Clarissa, Shantae, and girl Sean all left the house, leaving Chucky and China there. I was told one of China's people came and got her from the house as well, so Chucky left in China's truck shortly after. I was also told that another male might have been left there with Chucky and they might have left together, but I'm not really sure. Sean and his group arrived back on Metatol around 10:30 or 11 p.m. Taddy went straight in to make herself a plate of the food that RayRay cooked earlier. Shantae and Sean both sat on the couch and continued catching their bug. Clarissa was in her room. Maddie, which is Clarissa and RayRay's third child, was up in her room that's located upstairs. Rayshawn, on the other hand, remained in the truck that him and Clarissa shared, which was back in the driveway. This was something that Rayshawn was always known to do. He would probably usually be sitting there scrolling on the phone or talking or texting to somebody. Around an hour later, Shantae came out of the house, spoke to RayRay, and pulled off. Another 15 or 20 minutes passed, and while still woke in her room, which has a window out looking in the front of the house, Clarissa's silence was broken. She heard a very familiar voice shout in a raised tone, "You thought I wasn't coming back?" Those were words that she said herself she would never be able to get out of her head. Because right after that, it happened. Bang, bang. 2 shots. The sound of gunfire rips through the night. Clarissa was the first to react, racing to the window in just enough time to catch a glimpse of a man running away. She seen a guy dart across the street and through the field. After seeing the man run away, she rushed to the front door and started toward her truck where RayRay was the last time she seen him alive. She was met with what I'm sure was the most traumatizing and devastating sight she's ever seen in her life. One that no one should have to witness, especially a mother and her child. But there he was, Rayshawn Foster A.K.A Ray-Ray Red, slumped over in the front with his upper body toward the back and his legs facing outward as if he was trying to get away from someone or something that meant him harm. It would later be revealed that he was hit twice, both in the neck. A main artery was severed, which ultimately caused his demise. After screaming his name and hearing no response, Clarissa ran in the house, yelling at the top of her lungs, saying for the first time out loud, the conclusion she already came to in her mind. Chucky shot RayRay. And she came to this conclusion not only because she recognized the voice, but she also recognized the build of the man that she saw fleeing away from the scene of the crime. By now, everyone left inside of the house was either asleep or laying down. When those few words, accompanied by a few shakes and slaps, awoke the entire house. Tatted, girl Sean, Auntie, and his daughter Madison all ran outside, where they were met with the same heartbreaking scene. A father, a son, a cousin, and a lifelong friend taken just like that. Tatted later told me during her interview that he was gone before they placed him in the ambulance, and that was it. The end of a person whose motto was to party hard and love harder. The end of a person whose presence demanded the attention of everyone in the room. A man whose children, friends, family, including myself, have to go on living the rest of our lives, learning to endure the pain of losing someone with such unique, genuine, and unconditional love. Around 2:30, August 19th, I got a call from Clarissa. All she said was RayRay had been shot and he was on his way to the hospital in the ambulance. Then she had to call me back. Now, after jumping up and getting my thoughts together, I checked my phone and I seen I had got a text from Shantae telling me to call my auntie and check on RayRay. She heard he'd been shot. On me not knowing any details and hearing how he was on the way to the hospital, I just assumed he would be all right. So I just got up and started putting my clothes on and get ready for work. I still decided to give him a call back and see what was going on. I called Auntie and she let me know that it was Chucky that had shot RayRay. So around 4 a.m. before I left out for work, I decided to give Chucky a call to see what was going on. He answered without any type of raised tone or any stress in his voice, anything. He just said, "What's up, cuz?" like it's a normal conversation. So of course I said, "Why am I hearing that you shot your brother?" He immediately denied it, saying he ain't know where that was coming from and he don't know why they would say nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to lie. I initially didn't know what to believe. So by the time I got to work, right before I clocked in, I got a call from Teddy that changed everything. She told me RayRay was gone. He got shot in the neck and he ain't make it. I lost it. I walked right out of my job, jumped on my bike that I was riding at the time, and headed from the east all the way to the west where RayRay lived. When I got to RayRay's house, the scene hit me like a brick. Police, ambulance, a small crowd of people looking. That's when it all sank in. It was true. RayRay had been shot and he was gone. As I stated earlier, Clarissa was the first to say it was Chucky who committed the crime. Now, being that it was dark and everyone was drinking, I, like a lot of others, still wasn't convinced. In my mind, it was impossible for this to be true. Chucky couldn't have did that, not to his brother. Ain't no way. In my mind, she had to be mistaken or just completely lying. I don't know, but I just didn't believe it. Until the next day, when Chucky still hadn't showed up, is when I started getting a little skeptical. When I talked to Auntie, what she told me is what really opened my eyes to the fact that maybe I was wrong. She said that when the ambulance pulled up, Chucky had just called, and while on speakerphone, he said something that made her and the EMT look at the phone in disbelief. He said, "I'm sorry for y'all loss." So of course, Auntie said, "For our loss, it's your loss too." And Chucky hung up the phone. Fast forward in a few days, after all the speculation, it happened. Chucky was picked up by Detroit police. I'm not sure where they got him, but I know at the time he was apprehended, he was found in possession of 2 firearms, which will both be tested by police and later determined that neither one was the weapon used in the crime. Auntie, Teddy, and Kiki were the 3 people that went to every court proceeding. And Auntie said the first sign of emotion he showed was when he found out that the case would not be dropped and it would be going to a higher court. To be honest, we were all kind of worried about it being dropped because, as I said earlier, Clarissa was basically the whole case. At least that's what we thought. And due to her having fear or whatever was going on, I'm pretty sure it was a chaotic situation for her as well. So, due to all that, she didn't show up to any of the proceedings. As a matter of fact, we weren't able to get in touch with her at all. Luckily, by the end, the evidence was speaking for itself. Police was able to use GPS location, street cameras, and Ring doorbell cameras to digitally trail Chucky from the time him and RayRay were together to the time of the incident. Ultimately, on March 27, 2026, to avoid a potential life sentence, Jr., a.k.a. Chucky, took a plea to second-degree homicide for which he received 14 to 30 years, and a felony firearms where he had a consecutive 2-year term, which means he have to do the 2 years after doing his first initial sentence. Now, I'm sure this story left a lot of y'all with one question: why? What was the reason behind it? Or why? Why was he really that mad? And to be honest, I don't know. But at this point, I really don't care why. My real question is how. How does one bring himself to actually go through something like that? To plot or plan, even to say you'll do something like this is already terrible enough. But to actually go through with it is outrageous to me. I mean, think about it. They said he drove all the way from 7 Mile, way to Plymouth, over my cousin, his brother's house, parked around the block, walked all the way around the house, came back up behind it, opened the door, said that stupid shit he said, and then put 2 bullets in his brother. I mean, how the hell at some point during all that do you not come to your senses and realize that you're about to do this to your own flesh and blood? That's why I put Errol on the news scene, because as I'm telling y'all, they got it wrong. This wasn't no argument. It didn't lead to nothing led up to it. It wasn't spurred a moment. This man fully spent on his own brother, on his own flesh and blood. Now, I know a lot of y'all gonna say, well, he shot at him first and all that, but let's be clear. Number one, no, I don't condone none of that. But number two, that doesn't mean go back and actually do something to your brother. In my eyes, nothing happened, so it could be let go. Now, I have been a witness of things happening in the heat of a moment where people are fighting, family or not, and things get way out of hand. But it's totally different. As I said, there was no argument, there was no fight. Not at that moment, at least. At that time, he put a full plan together and executed it on his family, on his blood big brother. I never understand that. Anyway, I just want to close this out by saying I love you, big cuz. Long live RayRay. We're going to keep your name alive. Please send your condolences to my Auntie Elistine and the rest of my family. We appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you comment and tell me how you feel about this situation, how you felt about the video, because I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in here. Definitely tears. It was hard for me to make this, but I appreciate the feedback. Thanks again. See you in the next video.